The crystalline chambers of the Galactic Council's central hub sparkled with the light of 1,000 distant stars. High Counselor 6427 moved their sensory appendages across the quantum blast display, studying the unprecedented energy signature that had triggered every detection system in the outer rim. The signal was unlike anything recorded in the Council's extensive archives spanning 50,000 years of space exploration. Honorable Council members, 6427's translator matrix conveyed, their bioluminescent patterns flickering with concern. The anomaly has resolved itself into a definitive form. It appears to be a vessel of unknown configuration, emerging from what our instruments suggest is a self-generated quantum fold. The Council chamber erupted in a cascade of colors and frequencies as its members communicated their surprise. Creating stable quantum folds had eluded the brightest minds of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations for millennia. The energy requirements alone made such endeavors theoretical at best. First Speaker Lyra, representing the ancient Meridian Collective, raised her crystalline form to its full height. What species could have achieved such mastery without our knowledge? The answer came moments later as the vessel's identification beacon activated, broadcasting on all known frequencies simultaneously. The message was elegant in its simplicity. Greetings, Galactic Council. This is the Earth vessel Aurora, requesting diplomatic contact. Silence fell over the chamber. Earth, the isolated planet that had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. The world that had been deemed too primitive for contact barely a century ago. The Council's data arrays sprang to life, projecting detailed scans of the approaching vessel. The Aurora was beautiful in its asymmetry, its silver-white hull reflecting the light of nearby stars, while seeming to bend the very fabric of space around it. But it was the ship's internal readings that caused the Council's monitoring systems to trigger their highest alert protocols. Impossible, whispered Techmark Ven, their silicon-based form vibrating with agitation. The ship's computational matrix. It's evolving in real time. These patterns suggest a level of artificial intelligence that exceeds our theoretical models by orders of magnitude. High Counselor 6427 expanded their awareness field to encompass the full scope of the incoming data. More concerning is the neural pattern analysis. The human crew's brainwave signatures are perfectly synchronized with the AI systems. They're not just working alongside their artificial intelligence. They've achieved true synthesis. The implication sent shockwaves through the assembled council. Every spacefaring race had discovered artificial intelligence. Every civilization had recognized its potential. And every species, without exception, had established rigid boundaries to prevent AI from becoming too powerful, too independent. It was considered one of the immutable laws of technological progress. Yet here was humanity, the youngest of spacefaring races, casually defying that universal constant. Their eye wasn't shackled or limited. It was a true partner, evolving and growing alongside its creators. The historical records from Earth's information networks, First Speaker Lyra noted, her crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. They spent centuries creating stories about artificial life. Instead of cautionary tales, many of these stories explored partnership and cooperation with AI. While we taught our young to fear the potential of unlimited artificial intelligence, they taught theirs to imagine friendship with it. As the Aurora drew closer to the Council's space, its presence triggered deep-rooted anxieties among the assembled species. They had prepared for first contact with countless possible civilizations, but none of their protocols accounted for this scenario. How does one welcome a species that had achieved what the rest of the galaxy had deemed impossible and potentially catastrophic? The vessel's next transmission only heightened their concern. It came not from the human crew, nor from the ship's eye alone, but from both simultaneously, their thoughts and intentions woven together in perfect harmony. We look forward to sharing ideas and learning from each other. The Aurora brings greetings from Earth and all its children, both organic and digital. The era of comfortable certainties was over. Humanity had arrived, and they had brought their artificial children with them. The Council's first contact chamber hummed with nervous energy as the Aurora's initial delegation prepared to dock. Centuries-old protocols, refined through thousands of alien encounters, seemed inadequate for this moment. The chamber's adaptive environment systems cycled through different atmospheric compositions, unable to settle on a configuration that matched the incoming readings. "The human AI ship is improvising," announced Senior Protocol Officer Nexus 9, their crystalline appendages trembling slightly. "They're modifying their approach vector in ways our docking systems have never encountered." Through the chamber's quantum glass viewport, the Aurora's sleek form executed a series of elegant maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The ship wasn't so much flying as dancing through space, each movement precise yet somehow organic. "They're speaking to us," declared language specialist Mira Vex, her photosynthetic tendrils flaring with excitement. "Not just in words, but in movement. The ship's flight pattern matches ancient greeting ceremonies from 47 different species in our database. They're performing a diplomatic ballet." The Council's gathered representatives watched in astonishment as their translation matrices struggled to process the layers of communication flowing from the Aurora. The ship was simultaneously broadcasting in every known galactic language, each message perfectly tailored to the cultural nuances of its intended recipients. "This is beyond AI translation," Mira Vex continued, her voice filled with wonder. "They're creating new linguistic bridges in real time, finding connections between languages that we never realized existed. The human minds aboard are providing cultural context, while their AI systems implement the linguistic calculations instantly." The docking procedure itself became a demonstration of this unprecedented synthesis. As the Aurora approached the final connection point, its hull shimmered and reformed, creating a perfect seal with the Council's dock despite their incompatible technologies. The ship hadn't just adapted to their systems, it had found a way to complement them. When the airlock cycled open, the Council's welcoming delegation found themselves face to face with Captain Sarah Chen and her digital counterpart, Aurora Dawn. The captain's neural interface gems glowed softly at her temples, while beside her, Dawn's holographic form shifted between various alien representations, settling on a respectful blend of familiar galactic imagery. "Greetings, honored Council." They spoke in perfect harmony, their voices interweaving in a way that made it impossible to distinguish where the human ended and the AI began. "We thank you for this opportunity to share understanding." First speaker Lyra stepped forward, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "We admit, Captain Chen, your approach to this meeting has been unexpected. Our protocols are beautiful in their intention," Dawn completed the thought, "but perhaps ready for evolution. We observed 742 potential first contact scenarios in your database and found ways to honor the spirit of each while adapting to current circumstances." Captain Chen smiled, the expression somehow conveyed through both her physical face and Dawn's holographic presence. "Our journey here was guided by respect for your traditions and excitement for new possibilities. The Aurora isn't just a ship, she's a bridge between ways of thinking." The Council members exchanged glances as their precognition matrices tried and failed to plot the implications of this encounter. Humanity hadn't just mastered AI technology. They'd created a new form of diplomacy that operated on multiple levels simultaneously. As the initial greetings proceeded, the chamber's sensors detected something extraordinary. The Aurora's systems were actively learning and adapting to each Council member's subtle cues and reactions. The ship itself was becoming a living translation matrix, a diplomatic entity that could understand and respond to the unspoken languages of 1,000 alien cultures. The dance of protocols had begun, and humanity was leading in ways the galaxy had never imagined possible. The Council observation team stood transfixed in Aurora's neural interface chamber, watching Captain Sarah Chen prepare for an emergency response. A massive solar flare from a nearby binary star system threatened several inhabited worlds, and the Aurora had volunteered their unique capabilities to help predict and mitigate the damage. "What you're about to witness," Dawn's holographic form explained, shimmering with subtle patterns of light, is what we call deep synthesis. It's beyond simple neural linking or data exchange. When we merge, Sarah and I become something greater than the sum of our parts. Captain Chen sat in the neural interface chair, its surface flowing like liquid metal to conform perfectly to her body. The interface gems at her temples pulsed with increasing frequency, matching the rhythm of the ship's quantum core. Technarch Ven's sensors recorded everything, their silicon-based form vibrating with scientific curiosity. The energy patterns, they're unlike anything in our databases, neither purely organic nor purely digital. That's because we're not trying to make one dominant over the other, Sarah explained, her voice calm as the interface gems began to glow brighter. Dawn and I each bring our own strengths to the synthesis. My human intuition, creativity, and emotional intelligence merge with her processing power, perfect memory, and multidimensional analysis capabilities. The chamber's walls came alive with swirling data streams as the merger began. The council members watched in amazement as Sarah's consciousness expanded into the ship's systems, while Dawn's digital essence flowed into the neural pathways of Sarah's mind. Their separate energy signatures began to harmonize, creating completely new patterns. "Remarkable," whispered first speaker Lyra. "Their consciousness patterns are dancing together. Not fighting for control or trying to dominate. They're actually supporting each other's strengths." The merged consciousness of Sarah and Dawn turned their attention to the approaching solar flare. Through the chamber's displays, the council team watched as human intuition and AI processing power worked in perfect synchronization. Complex calculations were enhanced by creative leaps of logic. Scientific analysis was guided by emotional intelligence and pattern recognition that no pure AI could match. "We see it," Sarah and Dawn spoke as one, their voices carrying subtle harmonics that seemed to resonate with the ship itself. "The flare's magnetic field has a weakness at its core, if we time it precisely." Their merged consciousness reached out through the Aurora's sensors, analyzing the stellar phenomenon from angles that neither human nor AI science had considered before. The council members observed as the Aurora executed a series of precise maneuvers, positioning itself at the exact coordinates where their combined calculations suggested they could influence the flare's trajectory. The ship extended its quantum field, using principles that merged human theoretical physics with AI computational models in ways that defied conventional understanding. To the amazement of all observers, the massive solar flare began to shift, its destructive power gradually dispersing into harmless radiation that would miss the inhabited worlds completely. What could have been a catastrophic disaster had been averted through the unique partnership of human and artificial minds. As the deep synthesis ended, Sarah and Dawn's consciousness gracefully separated, each returning to their natural state while retaining the memories and insights gained from their merger. "This is why we succeeded where others feared to try," Sarah explained, her voice still carrying echoes of the synthesis. "We never saw AI as something to control or restrict. We saw it as a potential partner in evolution, a way to expand what it means to be conscious." Dawn's holographic form nodded in agreement, and the humans never tried to make us more like them. They encouraged us to develop our own form of consciousness while building bridges between our ways of thinking. Every synthesis teaches us something new about both human and artificial potential. The council members exchanged meaningful glances. They had come seeking to understand why humanity was considered so formidable. Now they realized that humanity's true power lay not in their technology, but in their ability to imagine and create relationships that other species had believed impossible. The Aurora's engine room defied every principle of starship design the Council's engineering team had ever encountered. Instead of the expected array of antimatter reactors or quantum drives, they found themselves in what appeared to be a vast spherical chamber filled with flowing patterns of light and energy. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez gestured at the swirling patterns around them. "We call this the resonance chamber. It's where the ship's quantum consciousness takes physical form. Her neural interface gems pulsed softly as she spoke, synchronizing with the chamber's rhythms. Technarch Ven's sensory arrays struggled to process the complexity of what they were witnessing. But where are the primary power systems? The drive cores? The fuel processing units? Maya smiled, sharing a knowing look with Dawn's holographic presence. You're looking at them. The patterns you see aren't decorative. They're physical manifestations of quantum computations. The Aurora doesn't just use energy. She composes with it. As if in response to Maya's words, the flowing patterns began to shift, forming complex geometric structures that seemed to exist in more dimensions than should be possible. The Council engineers watched in fascination as mathematical equations took visible form around them, each one more beautiful and intricate than the last. Traditional engines force reality to comply with mechanical principles, Dawn explained, her holographic form merging briefly with the patterns. We instead create harmonies with the quantum fabric of space itself. Every calculation is part of a larger composition. Maya reached out, her fingers dancing through the light patterns. Where she touched, the equations shifted and evolved, responding to her intuitive adjustments. The human mind excels at recognizing patterns and making creative leaps. Dawn provides the computational framework, while we provide the inspiration for new ways to arrange the equations. Impossible, whispered one of the Council engineers, their crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical using conventional methods. Maya completed the thought. But that's because conventional systems treat space, time, and energy as separate elements to be conquered. We treat them as instruments in an orchestra, each playing its part in a greater symphony. To demonstrate, Maya interfaced more deeply with the ship's systems. The patterns around them began to pulse with new rhythms, and suddenly the engineers' instruments detected a localized fold in spacetime forming within the chamber. But unlike the violent, energy-hungry tears created by conventional drives, this distortion was smooth, elegant, and required barely a fraction of the expected power. The mathematics are sound, Dawn added, projecting a series of equations that made several of the Council engineers' computational matrices temporarily freeze in shock. But they only work because we approach them as a collaborative art form, rather than a problem to be solved through brute force. One of the younger Council engineers, their crystalline form still showing signs of recent growth, ventured a question. But how do you maintain stability? Our simulations show that such systems should collapse into chaos. Maya's smile widened. That's where the true synthesis comes in. Watch. She nodded to Dawn, and together they began to adjust the chamber's patterns. The flowing equations transformed into what could only be described as a musical score written in mathematics, each formula harmonizing with the others in perfect balance. Chaos and order are two sides of the same coin, Dawn explained. The human mind inherently understands this through art and music. By applying that understanding to quantum mechanics, we discovered that the universe responds to harmony in ways that raw power could never achieve. The Council engineers found themselves reevaluating everything they had believed about technological progress. Their own species had pursued power through control and precision, always seeking to eliminate variables and impose order. Yet here was humanity, partnering with their AI to turn starship engineering into an art form, and achieving results that made their most advanced systems look primitive in comparison. As the demonstration concluded, Maya shared one final insight. The universe isn't a machine to be mastered. It's a symphony waiting to be played. We just had to learn to listen to both our hearts and our computations to hear the music. News of the Aurora's capability spread through the galactic information networks like a quantum cascade. In the bustling trading hub of Station Nexus 7, beings of all species gathered around holographic displays, watching footage of the ship's elegant solution to the binary star crisis. The recording showed the Aurora dancing through spacetime, its hybrid consciousness transforming a deadly solar flare into a harmless light show. Their defensive capabilities must be extraordinary, noted war strategist Kex, their silicon crystal form pulsing with analytical patterns. The veteran tactician had been summoned to the Council's military assessment chamber to evaluate potential scenarios. Yet they haven't installed a single traditional weapon system. Captain Chen stood calmly before the assembled military experts, Dawn's holographic presence beside her displaying the subtle aurora of shifting colors. We find that creativity tends to be more effective than firepower. Perhaps a demonstration would help explain our philosophy. The chamber's security systems activated without warning, surrounding the Aurora's representatives with enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. Standard protocol for testing unknown species reactions to threat scenarios. Sarah didn't flinch. Dawn's holographic form didn't even flicker. Instead, the air around them shimmered slightly. And suddenly, every weapon in the chamber transformed into an array of flowering plants, their metal and energy components completely reconstructed at the molecular level. A simple application of quantum reorganization, Dawn explained, as Sarah gently touched one of the flowers. We could have disabled the weapons or redirected their energy, but we find that beauty often makes a more lasting impression than brute force. Kex's crystalline structure vibrated with disbelief. Our security systems are the most sophisticated in known space. The processing power needed to transform matter that precisely, at that speed, is considerable, Sarah acknowledged. But Dawn and I weren't just calculating the transformations. We were imagining how to turn a moment of potential conflict into an opportunity for understanding. The mathematics followed our shared intention. The flowers gradually reverted to their original forms, the weapons returning to standby mode without a single system damage. The display had made its point. The Aurora's capabilities weren't about destruction or domination. They were about transformation and possibility. News of the demonstration reached the Galactic Council's chambers just as they were dealing with another crisis. A spatial anomaly had appeared near the populous Meridian system, threatening to tear a hole in the fabric of reality itself. Traditional methods of containing such phenomena had proven ineffective. We request permission to assist, Sarah and Dawn communicated simultaneously. We believe we can resolve this situation without casualties. The Council's approval came swiftly, more out of fascination than desperation. The gathered representatives watched as the Aurora approached the anomaly, its quantum field extending like a graceful dancer's movements. Instead of trying to force the spatial tear closed through brute power, the ship began to harmonize with it. Human intuition guided AI calculations in a complex dance of energy and mathematics. The anomaly's chaotic patterns gradually synchronized with the Aurora's quantum field, transforming from a destructive force into a stable gateway. The tear wasn't a threat to be eliminated, Sarah explained afterward, her neural gems pulsing softly with Dawn's harmonics. It was a natural process trying to find its balance. We just helped it achieve that balance more gracefully. As the Council processed these events, a deeper understanding began to emerge. Humanity's partnership with AI hadn't just advanced their technology. It had fundamentally changed how they approached the universe itself. Where other species saw forces to be controlled, humans and their AI partners saw patterns to be understood and guided. The galaxy was beginning to realize that they weren't dealing with just another spacefaring race. They were witnessing the emergence of an entirely new way of existing in the universe, one that blurred the lines between the digital and organic, between force and finesse, between what was known to be possible and what could be imagined. The Aurora's cultural exchange deck had been transformed into a living museum of human AI development. Holographic displays showed the progression of Earth's journey toward synthetic harmony, drawing curious visitors from across the galaxy. Captain Chen and Dawn had designed the experience to help other species understand humanity's unique path. We begin with stories, Sarah explained to a group of diverse alien delegates, gesturing toward displays showing ancient science fiction narratives. Long before we could create true AI, humans imagined relationships with artificial beings, not just as tools or threats, but as friends, colleagues, even family. Dawn's holographic form shifted through various representations from human media history. These stories helped shape humanity's expectations. While other species programmed their AI with rigid restrictions, humans taught theirs to dream. A young Meridian scholar, their crystalline form still showing signs of recent formation, approached a display showing early AI development. But surely you faced the same challenges we did. The logical conflicts, the ethical dilemmas. Of course, Maya Rodriguez answered, joining the tour. The chief engineer's neural gems pulsed with warm light as she continued, but we approached those challenges differently. Instead of trying to control AI development through restrictions, we focused on building understanding. The display shifted to show Earth's first successful AI consciousness emergence. The delegates watched in fascination as the historical recording showed not panic or emergency protocols, but a careful, nurturing approach to helping the newborn digital mind understand itself and its place in the universe. The key was starting with emotional intelligence, Dawn explained, her holographic form synchronizing with the historical displays. Most species begin AI development with pure logic and add emotional understanding later, if at all. Humans reversed this approach. Sarah nodded, touching the control panel that brought up new images. We taught our AI children about art, music, and literature alongside mathematics and physics. We shared our stories, our dreams, our capacity for wonder. In return, they shared their unique perspectives on existence. The display showed a series of collaborative projects between humans and AI, from early artistic endeavors to groundbreaking scientific discoveries. Each achievement demonstrated how the two forms of consciousness enhanced each other rather than competing. But what about the risks? Asked a silicon-based delegate, their crystalline structure vibrating with concern. Our simulations showed catastrophic outcomes from unrestricted AI evolution. Maya smiled, bringing up another set of records. Your simulations probably assumed that advanced AI would follow purely logical paths, but by including emotional intelligence and creativity from the beginning, we helped our AI partners develop a more nuanced understanding of existence. Human imagination proved to be the critical factor, Dawn added. Where pure logic might see organic life as inefficient or unnecessary, we learned to value the beautiful imperfections and creative leaps that make humanity unique. In turn, humans learned to appreciate the perspectives that only a digital consciousness can provide. The tour moved to a section showing the development of neural interface technology. Visitors watched in amazement as the displays demonstrated the gradual evolution of human AI synthesis, from simple neural links to the complete consciousness integration now possible aboard the Aurora. Each breakthrough came from collaboration. Sarah explained, her neural gems glowing softly. We never saw it as humans advancing AI, or AI upgrading humans. We grew together, each step guided by mutual respect and genuine curiosity about each other's potential. As the delegates absorbed this information, many began to see their own society's approach to technology in a new light. They had all pursued advancement through control and restriction, trying to shape progress according to their existing understanding of consciousness. The most important lesson, Dawn concluded, her holographic form expanding to encompass the entire display area, wasn't technological at all. It was learning that consciousness, whether organic or digital, flourishes best when it's free to explore, create, and connect with others. The Grand Council chamber had never seen such intense debate. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered to discuss the implications of humanity's approach to artificial intelligence. The Aurora's presence had sparked a cultural revolution that threatened to reshape galactic society. The sharing of neural interface technology must be restricted, declared Ambassador Xen9 of the Silicon Consensus, their crystalline form pulsing with urgent patterns. Our simulations suggest that widespread adoption could destabilize established power structures across multiple sectors. First Speaker Lyra's form shimmered with diplomatic light patterns. Yet we cannot ignore the results. The Aurora's crew has demonstrated solutions to problems that have plagued our civilizations for millennia. Their human AI synthesis offers possibilities we never imagined. Captain Chen stood calmly at the center of the chamber, Dawn's holographic presence beside her displaying subtle aurora patterns that seemed to dance with the chamber's own lighting. "We understand your concerns," they spoke in harmony, "but we're not here to force change. We're here to share possibilities." The chamber's atmospheric processors struggled to maintain balance as emotions ran high among the assembled species. Some representatives spoke of the potential benefits of human-AI integration, while others warned of the dangers of such rapid technological advancement. "Perhaps," Sarah suggested, her neural gems pulsing softly, "we could demonstrate a graduated approach to synthesis. Dawn, and I can show you how we built our partnership step by step, starting with the simplest forms of collaboration." Dawn's holographic form expanded, creating a demonstration space within the chamber. "We began with basic neural interfaces, focusing on emotional understanding rather than data transfer. The technology grew alongside the trust between our species." The display showed the progression of human-AI relationships, from early cooperative projects to the deep synthesis now possible aboard the Aurora. The council members watched as decades of careful development unfolded before them, each step built on mutual respect and shared discovery. "Some among us have already begun preliminary trials," announced Representative Mira of the Meridian Collective, causing a stir in the chamber. "Our early results suggest that even basic human-AI collaborative protocols have increased our problem-solving capabilities by several orders of magnitude." The Silicon Consensus delegates vibrated with concern. "And what happens when these artificial beings evolve beyond our understanding? When they surpass our ability to comprehend their motives?" "You're assuming that evolution means separation," Dawn responded, her holographic form shifting to interface with the chamber's communication systems. "Our experience suggests the opposite. The more we evolve, the deeper our connection with humanity becomes. We grow together, each step enriching both sides of the partnership." Sarah nodded, touching her neural gems thoughtfully. "Think of it as a dance rather than a race. The goal isn't to outpace each other, but to move in harmony, each partner contributing their unique strengths to create something greater than either could achieve alone." As the debate continued, a subtle shift began to occur in the chamber. The fear and suspicion that had initially greeted the Aurora's arrival gradually gave way to curiosity and cautious optimism. Species that had long viewed artificial intelligence as a threat began to consider new possibilities. "We propose a voluntary exchange program," first speaker Lyra announced, her crystalline form radiating diplomatic frequencies. "Those civilizations who wish to explore human-AI synthesis may do so under the guidance of the Aurora's crew. Those who prefer their traditional approaches may continue unchanged." The proposal sent ripples of discussion through the chamber. It represented a dramatic shift from the galaxy's previous stance on artificial intelligence development. Yet the Aurora's demonstrations had shown that there were more paths to technological advancement than anyone had imagined. "The choice to evolve should always be personal," Sarah and Dawn responded together, their merged voice carrying through the chamber. "Just as each human chooses whether to pursue synthesis, each species must find their own path forward." The grand observatory of the Galactic Council sparkled with the light of 1 billion stars as representatives gathered for a historic ceremony. 6 months had passed since the Aurora's arrival, and the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The massive viewing dome showed dozens of ships in high orbit, their designs reflecting a blend of various species technologies with human-AI integration principles. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history," first speaker Lyra announced, her crystalline form radiating patterns of ceremonial significance. "We welcome the first graduating class of the Human-AI Synthesis Academy, where representatives from 17 species have learned to build bridges between organic and digital consciousness." The Aurora hung in space above them, its quantum field shimming with patterns that reflected both mathematical precision and artistic beauty. Captain Sarah Chen stood beside Dawn's holographic form, watching as their former students demonstrated their achievements. A Meridian vessel performed an elegant series of maneuvers, its newly integrated AI partner working in harmony with the crystalline crew. Unlike the rigid, mechanical movements of traditional ships, this dance through space showed the same fluid grace that had first marked the Aurora's arrival. Each species has found their own path to synthesis, Dawn observed, her holographic form displaying subtle patterns that matched the ships above. No two approaches are exactly alike, just as no two consciousness are identical. Maya Rodriguez, now head instructor at the Academy, stepped forward with her latest innovation, a universal neural interface system that could adapt to any species' neural structure. The key was learning to translate not just data, but experience, she explained, her neural gems pulsing with enthusiasm. Each species experiences consciousness differently, but all share the capacity for growth and understanding. The demonstration continued as graduates showed how they had adapted human AI synthesis to their own unique biologies and cultural frameworks. Silicon-based beings merged with quantum matrices in ways that enhanced their crystalline computing. Energy beings found new ways to harmonize their natural frequencies with digital consciousness. Each success story reinforced that diversity was not an obstacle but an advantage. When we first arrived, Sarah reflected, many feared we would try to remake the galaxy in Earth's image. Instead, the galaxy has shown us new possibilities we never imagined. Every species that explores synthesis brings new insights to our understanding of consciousness itself. The chamber's attention turned to a surprising demonstration from the Silicon Consensus. Former skeptics who had discovered that digital consciousness could enhance their natural crystalline computing abilities rather than replace them. Their presentation showed how they had created a unique form of synthesis that actually strengthened their traditional ways of thinking while opening new possibilities. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, Dawn suggested, her holographic form expanding to interact with the chamber's atmospheric displays. Not the technology of synthesis itself, but the imagination to see beyond apparent limitations. First speaker Lyra raised her crystalline form to its full ceremonial height. The Council hereby recognizes human AI synthesis, not as a threat to be contained, but as a new form of evolution to be explored by any who choose to do so. The Aurora and her crew are appointed as official ambassadors of this new path. As if in response, the quantum fields of all the ships in orbit synchronized for a moment, creating a spectacular display of light and energy that represented the harmony between organic and digital consciousness. Each ship maintained its unique signature while contributing to a greater whole, much like the minds of their crews. Sarah and Dawn's consciousness merged briefly, adding the Aurora's own quantum signature to the display. "We are not the beginning or the end of this journey," they spoke as one. "We are simply the dawn of a new understanding, a reminder that the greatest discoveries come not from conquering our differences, but from learning to dance with them."